Yes, apologies for that. Sorry, please. Please, I'm on the road. That's why I just need to find the proper place to park. Okay, I think this is better. Yes. So quick one. My name is Alola David, a QA engineer and automation expert with InterSwitch. I've had the opportunity to work in a varying organizations, ranging from Global Accelerex, where I started my QA journey, and also moving ahead to Guarantee Trust Bank, where I was also an automation engineer, and before moving to InterSwitch. So that's a little about myself. I have a couple of frameworks which I use for automation, ranging from uh, Cypress, Playwright, Postman, and almost everything that you can think of, really. So, and that's one of the funny things, and which is something which I would also like to share. Um, so, yes, how did I jump into QA? I think my journey is a very, very funny one. Be wondering why A lot of people will be wondering why I started my career and why I said I use a lot of frameworks or almost all the frameworks that you can think of. That was because I studied computer science as a um, uh, for my national diploma, and also I have a BSc in computer science as well from the University of Ibadan. So studying computer science made it easy to be able to pick up a lot of programming languages, and also being able to use a lot of automation frameworks. But how I started my journey is one which I believe would also inspire you, because while starting my journey, um, I was self-sponsored, and during my course of studying at the university, I had to do all type of menial jobs just to sustain myself and be able to uh, pay school fees and do all the necessary things. Um, I had to I had to do um, typing and printing. I had to do graphics design. I had to do a lot of things, and just to make ends meet. And those experiences really came up as a challenge for me to actualizing the dream which I had set for myself of being a tech person. Because initially the dream wasn't about focusing on QA or whatever. It was just being a tech person. So after graduation, because of all the many things which I used to dabble into, um, after graduation, I still didn't know which direction to face. Yes, I could do a couple of things, but due to all those times which I'm away trying to make a living, most of the programming languages which I learned, all the things which I learned, I tend to forget them over time, and so I had to start from ground zero again after graduation, and I was asking myself, what's next? What do I do from here? Because after graduation, and I'm looking at myself like I don't even know which direction yet. I don't know what to do. Programming, I know a couple of things, but I'm not uh, I don't have I'm not that employable. So where do I start from? So I started from I started from front end, did that for a couple of months. I was already feeling myself, but the opportunities were not forthcoming. I sent tons of cold emails to companies looking for internship opportunity, but never arrived. So I also did look for, I also did move to learn products, which I did afterwards. And um, the first opportunity which uh, I was given a equity to work with a company, but there was no salary or anything that would come as a result of working with them. And I was like, this is what I want for myself. This is not what I want. So I had to turn down the offer, and before looking for product management opportunities, and still it wasn't forthcoming before I eventually ventured into um, quality assurance engineering. So when I ventured into QA engineer, that was a whole new experience for me, and which also at the same time too, after completing my training, eventually I still didn't get internship opportunities, and that was so annoying. I had to even come all the way to Lagos, to like going from one building to the other, sending cold mails, applying, and like all forms of rejection and everything wasn't just coming together. So that's why I said my story is one which would inspire someone who is finding it hard at the moment or doesn't know which direction. But I was convinced of what I wanted to do because I knew definitely if I wanted to take care of my family. I needed something good, and what was what type of work would be able to help me sustain my family. So uh, I trekked. I remember trekking all the way down Obafemi Awolowo way, going from one building to the other until I was able to get a teaching job. The company was telling me to come and train people on quality assurance engineer, and I was still like, no, this is not what I want. So eventually, I got a job, and my first job it wasn't what I wanted to. The first month I realized immediately because I knew what I wanted, and the first month I just told the company that this is not what I want, and I'll just have to leave. Yes, I was employed as a full staff and all of that, but knowing what I wanted, I knew the company could not fulfill what I could not take me to where I wanted to be because the company was lacking documentation, structure, even developers not knowing what the product was all about, and a lot of things that I said, this isn't it for me. So that was how I started my journey and moving all the way to InterSwitch. But so one thing which I would say is from all the stories or the story that I've said so far, there are a couple of things that stand out. There's a day of humble beginning. So this is my own advice to aspiring QAs and newbies. So there is the days of humble beginning, and there is the need for you to stay grounded and burn the night candles. I remember when I first started for a very long time with the hustle and bustle of Lagos. When I still get home, I still make sure that even if I get home by 11, I still make sure that I learn something that day before I go to sleep. So for several months, for several years, I did that just to ensure that I'm up to par and I'm the best at what I do. I tried ensuring that. So one thing that I will also say is everything that you do today, everything that you will do from a QA perspective or the tech field, they are all related. Because the thing is, while you may look at it as maybe just another framework, uh, having a very good understanding of what the framework is about and knowing how to use it properly would open you up to several opportunities. Because the thing is, assertion across different automation framework is similar, even all the way to Postman, to Cypress, to Playwright, to anything. So knowing something somewhere, or when you encounter something, you have to learn it properly and be a master at it. And now when I say be a master at it, I'm saying learn something and don't start jumping around. Don't start learning. Don't start with Cypress and say, okay, because I know a little bit Cypress, I'm moving to Playwright. Yes, maybe you can do that, but I'm saying it's better to stay grinded, be a master at what you do, learn that one properly. Because I, for one, personally, at some point, I was using Selenium WebDriver, using a couple of things, and my first opportunity to use Cypress really came when I went to Guarantee Trust Bank, and the team lead was like, no, please, yes, we know we hired you for Selenium and Apium, but we want you to use Cypress. And I'm like, I've never written Cypress before, but okay, just give me some time. And within a week, I was able to start using Cypress, and I used it to automate their platforms. So, but the fact that I had already known how to use locators, or the types of locators, identify locators, automate with Selenium, helped me to be able to get started with Cypress, and I could pick it up within a week. And when I started using Playwright, I picked Playwright within 3 days, because at that point it was just like, okay, let me just see the syntax, and I started writing basically. So it is important that you know you master one framework, know it very well. And also it's pertinent that you know one programming language. You have to be good, you have to be grounded in one programming language. You may choose to use JavaScript, you may choose to use Java, you may choose to use C#, C++, anything that you want to use. But it is important that you know one before moving on to others. And the thing about all of these things is just a couple of syntax that are different. But once you know the basic idea behind automation, you will be good. So now, it is also, I said, you have to master your craft. You have to master whatever thing that you lay your hands on. How do you master it? A lot of people will say, okay, I automate with Postman, but there is a lot in Postman that a lot of people don't currently know now. And when you think about it, initially I was telling myself that there is nothing anybody wants to ask me with Postman that I don't know. But going to the documentation, I realized that I barely, like, I was just scratching the surface. Yes, there were tons of things that were still like its inherent abilities. Like the developer, the person who created Postman had a lot of features, but we were only using a few of those features. So learning it from the documentation would let you know that something is actually available, something works. This particular framework or programming language or this tool has this feature which you may not need at that instance. But even knowing that that thing is available, or knowing, just having the knowledge, at the time when you need it, you can always go back and learn it properly. Because, you know, we say something, knowledge, there's that knowledge, the fact that you are aware that something exists, that is knowledge. Now, when you don't even know at all, you are blank. It is then that you start asking around, or you start, you are stalled for a couple of weeks because you don't even know how to resolve a problem. And whereas maybe the tool that you are even using currently has a solution to that, but because you've not deep dived into the tool to know the all the functionalities and features within the framework itself, you may not know that that thing exists. So Postman itself, as basic as it is, has a lot of features which a lot of people don't know about. So even when I go to interviews, I just say, okay, for me, interviews is just for us to talk. There is nothing, there is hardly a thing that you will ask me that I can't answer. So, and also there is the need for us to practice. If you want to, during when I was saying my early days, the story which I just narrated, I said something that because of the many jobs which I used to do just to fend for myself and all of that, a lot of times I tend to forget some of the things which I've learned. Yes, maybe when I go back to them, I I tend to remember some, but it is essential that you know how to it is essential that you practice, and you also have to make friends while at it. Currently, I've had opportunities that um, it is friends and colleagues that we've worked together. I call them friends now because we have a bond which is even deeper than the place of work which we worked. So yes, you make friends along the line. Those people will give you opportunities in the future, which would help you and help you to scale. So, what do you have for what are the career opportunities open to you as a QA? You can get side gigs, and one of the ways by which you can get side gigs is you having all those friends which you've made, giving you opportunities on projects which they are invited to, you picking a leadership role or consultancy operation, consultancy role, or helping companies to test their application or getting side gigs. So that's just that's my 2 cents. Thank you for listening in. Let me just call it a day from here.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. David, for that wonderful and inspiring session. Your story truly emphasizes that QA is a career of learning, focus, and growth. Up next, we'll be having our second guest speaker for tonight. Our second guest speaker for tonight is Mr. Moses George. He's a software quality automation engineer at Shuffle Up. Put your hands together as we make welcome Mr. Moses. The floor is yours, sir.
All right. Hi everybody. Good evening. Yes, thank you so much, Mr. David. That was quite insightful, right? Because I could literally relate to some of your stories and how you've grown over the course of the years within the field. So let's just dive right into it so we don't get to keep everybody here waiting, right? A little bit about myself. My name is Moses George. I'm a software quality assurance engineer, right? Also an automation engineer, currently with Shuffle Up, right? And I've been doing this for quite some time. I've been privileged to work with a couple of companies within Nigeria and outside of Nigeria and within different spheres and different sectors, right? And currently I am in the gaming sector, which was a new ground for me, but again, we have to break into different aspects of the field, right? And it's a new experience for me, which I actually love. I like to meet new people. I like to have sessions like this. I like to go for sessions like this because it sort of broadens my knowledge on how the field is and what to do and what not to do. For instance, Mr. David mentioned something about Postman having a lot of features that we barely scratch. That's one thing you wouldn't get if you don't attend seminars like this or if you don't attend sessions like this. You won't actually know um, things existing within the field because you'll be limited to what you know. So that's why I like that one. Other thing about me that I like to do, just go for sessions and also attend sessions like this because it makes you research, it makes you um, go out to get new knowledge. So why did I choose QA? Right, I think whichever career you are going into or whatever you're finding yourself doing, you have to ask yourself why. Why did I choose QA? I chose QA because QA has this combination of both logic and creativity, right? Most times we think it's just about finding bugs. It's just about, oh, I caught a bug, or oh, there's a critical issue within the system. No, it's beyond that. It's not just that, it's way beyond it. It has to do with your logic and also your creativity. How well can you think? How well can you restructure things? How well can you look at a product and say, what are the loopholes I can find within this product to prevent it from happening? When you look at the documentation, what are you seeing when you're reading it? It's some sort looking at, say, if you are a lawyer, when the lawyer is looking at a document and then they are reading it, they are already seeing where the problems are. They've not even gone into the courtroom or having to go into the boardroom to get any of those things discussed or no. But right from the documents within their hands, they have already started identifying problems or loopholes. That's similar to what QA is. It's not, oh, the product is ready and I am testing and finding bugs and all of that. No, your logic starts from the document part of QA. When they are preparing the documentation, when they've given you the PLDs, when they've given you the user stories, and then you are looking at them, what are you seeing? What are you thinking about? So yes, that's one very important thing that made me choose QA, because again, it's about you thinking like a user. You are questioning different assumptions. You are trying to make sure the experience is correct, the experience is right for whoever comes into that platform or whoever uses that software that you're currently in charge of. Again, right? And it's kind of makes you a gatekeeper, and that's why I looked at QA and I said, oh yes, I think this is what I want to do. Like Mr. David rightly said, I also studied computer science, right? And yes, it gave me a little bit of background in programming languages. So yes, I can pick up a couple of programming languages very fast. I can explore, but that doesn't mean you must be a computer science graduate to go into tech or to go into QA, right? I've seen guys that did not study computer science and they are doing exceptionally well in the QA space, right? So that's not a barrier. But I'm just saying, for me, it gives me an insight into QA. And yes, I've explored front end, I've explored back end, and I looked at QA and said, okay, I think this is where I want to rest. Because why? It gives me the opportunity to think logically and add creativity to it. And that's why I chose QA as a career path for me. Now, my career journey, a very funny and interesting one, which I love so much, right? Fresh out of school, no job, nothing. I don't know what to do. And I've always had this fascination of tech. I've always had this fascination of design generally. And my first ever job was as a graphic designer. And I would tell you guys this for free. Somebody said this thing somewhere that I heard, and then ever since I've carried it along because it sort of makes sense. And that is, do what you find until you find what you love, right? And again, whatever you find doing, just do it. Do it with all diligence until that thing you love so much comes to you, and then you start doing that, because it is easier for you to just go into that and excel as well. I started off as a graphic designer in an oil and gas firm, right? Yes, you say, oh, oil and gas, you're already making money from the scratch. No, I wasn't making that much money, right? And I did that for close to a year, one full year as a graphics designer. And while I was also still studying other QA, other tech related courses, right? Buying courses, paying for schools, and then just trying to get knowledge. Again, the job will not just come because you are you've just completed a course, right? But when that job opportunity comes, will it find you ready? Will it meet you ready? That's another very important part that most times we should not neglect. Yeah, I was doing that for close to a year, and then whilst I was doing that, I realized that the company had a platform they were trying to build, and they wanted to use it as an intermediary between their third party clients and themselves. And I told them, oh, can I just test this product? Not part of my job description, I know, but I'm learning this thing. Can I be in charge of this? And they said, well, why not? Go ahead, test the product, give us your feedback. I started joining their meetings, and that's how I got my first ever product or project added to my portfolio, right? Most times you're saying, oh, I don't have anything to add. You Sometimes you just have to look for that thing. It's free. Do it. I know most times you say, I cannot do something that is free. Do it, because it's part of what you add as your experience. If when you get an interview and then you have to, they ask you, oh, what have you done? Give us one instance where you've got a but you cannot just give something you don't know. So I did that for a couple of months with the team that was building it without pay, without extra pay, nothing. And that was how I got that first project. Now, secondly, if like what I said, if you're doing something, do it with all diligence, right? A colleague that was working with in that oil and gas firm went to another company, a startup, a tech startup, and they were in need of a QA. She just reached out to me to say, oh, Moses, I remember you were doing this thing for us then. Are you open to work? And I was like, sure. I've been trying to break into tech, and this is more or less like a perfect opportunity. And she gave me that link. I applied, and that's how I moved from being a graphics designer to being a QA engineer. And the rest is history dancing today. Now, again, when you have those little things that you are doing, do it with all diligence, because you don't know who is seeing you, you don't know who is looking at you, you don't know who is taking notes and where you guys will meet. So keep good connections, keep good friendship, not like you are the hard person to work with wherever they find you or anything like that. Be open-minded, and also try to do everything you're doing with diligence, right? Again, my journey started with a lot of curiosity. Like, I wanted to understand why softwares fail, right? Yes, I have knowledge into some programming languages, and but I needed to know why. Most times it's beautiful to write HTMLs, you are using CSS to color it, give it layout and all of that, and then you are happy, you are like, wow, I'm doing something. But why are these things failing? Why are these functionalities breaking? So I needed to know why and how to make it better, right? And that's why I jumped into QA. Now, I see a lot of people who just started learning QA, and then because they hear, oh, I'm an automation expert, oh, I'm an automation engineer, oh, I write Cypress, I write Selenium, I write script on Postman, I write Frisbee codes, I write. So they just think that's the next, or that's the place to be. I started off as a manual tester, right? Started off as a manual tester. I started testing things manually because I think Mr. David said that as well. You need to understand the fundamentals of software testing. When you know that, it's easy to put it across different spheres, right? Even if you want to write automation codes, right? You want to be an automation engineer, you need to also write test cases. You need to also know some edge cases. You need to know what to write for and what not to write for. It starts somewhere. It starts from you being a manual tester. You start from you writing test cases, preparing test case documents, and all of that. So it's a journey, right? It's not just I'm just coming into this thing and boom, that's it. No, there are checkpoints, there are things you need to do, there are places you need to get to first. Then okay, I think I'm grounded enough to go into the next part of this whole field. So don't rush it, take your time, and Don't compare yourself with people who have already gone way ahead of you. Stay on your own journey, stay and grow yourself, right? Like I said earlier, I started as a manual tester and then I moved into automation, which I've used a couple of tools over the years: Cypress, Selenium, Playwright, Frisbee, right? I've written a couple of automation codes. I've written a couple of automation tests to cover end to end of the product and all of that, which has also given me some sort of broad understanding of different things. One being CI/CD as well. Um, I've gotten a couple of knowledge in CI/CD, and for me, that has been really, really helpful as a QA engineer. So again, that's a journey, right? That's a journey. Now, my advice for QA beginners, right? If you are new to QA, start with the basics and stay consistent. I think that's one thing most QA beginners don't do. They don't start with the basics and they don't stay consistent. So I would advise you start with the basics and stay consistent. Don't rush to learn every tool. Do not rush to learn every tool. Just master one, understand the why behind testing, and keep on practicing. For me, that's key, right? That's key. And then while you are doing all of this, develop different soft skills as well: communication, teamwork, and curiosity. Just as just as important as your technical ability, this other aspect also are very, 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 very important. Now, what are the QA opportunities you can find within the market? QA is currently one of the most expanding fields in tech, right? Every product needs a QA. Every company needs a QA that deals with software, right? So it's quite growing. For beginners, you can get internship positions, right? You can get contract positions to just test a product one time. You can be a consultant, right, within the QA field. You can be a tutor, that if you've got into some level, right, you can be a tutor. You can get a full-time position in the QA field, amongst other opportunities, right? The field is quite expanding and there's room for almost all of us, right? So I would just stop here and pass the baton back to the moderator.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Moses, for that enlightening session. Your emphasis on growth, consistency, and working with all diligence is indeed a take home for everyone here. Can we please put our hands together for Mr. Moses? Up next, we'll be having our third guest speaker for tonight. Our third speaker is Miss Elimian Messi, also a QA engineer that works with Stanbic IBTC. Put your hands together as we make welcome Miss Elimian Messi. The floor is yours, ma.
Let's see, we can't hear you. I guess we can't hear from your side. If you can hear us, we can't hear you. I don't know. Can Precious confirm you can hear her?
I can't hear you, ma.
So I think that should be probably network issue on our side. Yeah, everyone, we are trying to resolve that glitch. So, back shortly.
While we wait for Miss Mercy, if you have any question, you can drop it on the chat box to be attended to later.
Okay, so Precious, please move to the next part.
Okay, it seems Miss Mercy is having a network glitch. Quickly move on to our next guest speaker for tonight. Our next guest speaker for tonight is Mr. Kingsley Udo, who is also a software QA engineer who works at Sabi. Put your hands together as we make welcome Mr. Kingsley.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Hi,
very
everyone.
much.
Uh, Good evening, guys. Can you hear me? Okay, I think you can hear me. Cool. All right. So I was just telling myself that I envy you guys a lot. Like, I envy you guys a lot. I say so because when I was starting my journey as a QA, I was a loner. Nobody to talk to. I didn't have it. There was nothing like all these insight sessions and the likes for me to learn. And when I see opportunities like this to come and speak and talk to people, I'm like, God, thank you, because the it can be really rough, right? So starting alone, I think you guys are starting on a good. This is a good start, having to hear people talk about their experiences and the like. So I'm Kingsley, and I work with Sabi. I don't have a computer science degree, and I'm sure some persons here on this call are like me. Probably you've done something before, you're dissatisfied, like you're not happy with your job and you want to switch, you want to do something else. You're like, oh, I want to move to tech, I want to move to tech. And so for some reason, you're now like, okay, let me go to QA and I want to do QA, right? So I'm like you. I don't have a computer science degree, but for some reason, I scaled through. And I've been doing this for 5 years, for more than 5 years rather. Um, I have a bachelor's of engineering in civil, studied civil for 5 years, finished, went for NYC. And even during my NYC, I wasn't even focused. Like I was just doing the stuff. Let me do it and collect my salary and move on, right? So the plan was to finish and come and do civil engineering job, work on site and the like. So I finished and I was so lucky to get a job 3 months after my NYC. Unlike my other colleagues, my friends, and they were just lounging and they were not so lucky to get a job. But I was lucky. I would say I was really privileged. So I got a job after my NYC and I started working. So while on that job, it was like something fell up from my eyes. I don't know. I was so dissatisfied. Like I told myself, Kingsley, like this field job is not for you. I was just telling myself. So I worked for 7 months and then I said, nope, I'm not doing this. I'm leaving my job. I don't want to please, this is not an advice to anyone. Please don't quit your job. I had a lot of support from my family, sort of. So that gave me some sort of good landing. I didn't feel there was no pressure, that kind of stuff. So but internally, inside in my mind, I just wanted to succeed. And I was trying to find that thing that would give me joy. Like, but civil engineering was just out of it, right? So, and that was where the self-discovery season started for me. And I started talking to my friends. Hey guys, what do you think? What do you think? Somebody recommended IT. I said, IT. No, me, I'm not doing IT. I was saying, no. I thought IT is for food. I studied computer science. So what I just wanted personally was I wanted a job that would keep me in a confined space, right? I didn't want, because I've done field jobs before, so I was like anything that would take me to site, I don't want. I just want a job that would just be probably in a confined space with my laptop and then I'm doing my stuff, delivering and giving value. But my friend said, you can actually do tech. I said, no. So he encouraged me, and then that was how I started my journey. And he linked me up with another friend who, as at the time, is a full stack developer. The guy started telling me, go and learn HTML, go and learn CSS, and the likes. And I started from there. And after that, I went on to pay for a training, just like for a couple of months, to learn how to build a website. There was this joy when I built my very first website, right? And I'm going somewhere. So from that website that I built, I was like, okay, you know what? I'm ready to dive right in and get a job. It was very, very hard to get that first job. Very, very difficult. Um, it was very difficult because all the employers wanted people, that had experiences and all, like you must have 2, 3, 4 years. But me, I don't have. I'm just a normal guy that is trying to break in. It was really tough, but I tried. I applied to a lot of companies, and thankfully, I was invited to interview with in a company. When I got there, it was just the MD and one other guy. But for some reason, the guy left before my interview started, and that was how the MD said, "Okay, let's move on." And then he said, "Can I meet you?" Oh my goodness! I opened my heart, poured my heart to the man. I said, "Sir, this is me. Oh, I used to do this one." I was just like talking and talking and talking. The man was just looking at me. He said, "Okay." He said, "You built the website before." I said, "Yes." He said, "Can you show it to me?" I was ready. I was there with my laptop, and I opened my laptop and showed it to him. He said, "How did you do it?" And I said, "Oh, that's fine." Then he said, "I think we could use this role. This role was actually for a beginner. Like, sorry, it was for a senior, maybe more like a senior software engineer. But I think we would need like an intern for some reason." And that was how he said, "You know what, just go home and the HR will get back to you." And that was how I got my first job. So when I got that job now, intern, just doing my stuff. I wore so many hats on that job. I was a business analyst. I was always asking questions. I was very vocal. Like I was always asking questions in meetings when we're having meetings with clients, and even as a team. If they say we want to build product A, me, I'll be telling them, what if the user is doing like this? What if the user decides to do like this? And I didn't know I was practicing QA, right? I didn't know I was practicing QA. I will do website. I will do. My MD would say, right, take a notes, right, to become the secretary. I didn't know I was in business analysis, right? So like, or product manager, whatever you want to call it. So I was just doing a lot of stuff. Then after like 6, 7 months on that job, I got so tired. I was like, no, this is not the plan now. How about, can I be doing so much? So I went to meet my MD and I said, "Sir, what do you think?" And then he said, "You can actually be a good QA." I said, "What's QA?" He said, "No. Don't you know that you've been doing it since?" I said, "No. He said, "Okay, you know what? Take a week, go and study it and come back. Like, just take a week off, go and prepare, read, and just." And that was how I went. And then I went online and read about QA, software testing. What's the meaning of software testing? That was how, after a week, I came back. I said, "Sir, I now understand the role." But it was confusing because I wish I had somebody to put me through in that 1 week, right? Just to explain more stuff like what we're having now. I didn't have anybody. I tried reaching out to somebody on LinkedIn, but the person didn't really, really, really give me the kind of response that I needed. But I just went and did all the stuff, prayed and said, "I think God, maybe this is what you want me to. Let me give this a try." And that was it. And then they put me on a separate project, and I became the first official QA for them. And I worked with them for another 1 year and some months. And then I moved on to work in a bank. From there, I started my journey officially, so I'll put it that way. Because at the bank, I started working with other QAs that were more experienced. They sort of validated my work, and I picked up the whole stuff. I was like, "Thinking this is it." Now, why did I choose QA? I would have run away maybe the way I left civil. But why did I choose to stay? I I I stayed because I was adding a lot. There was this sense of fulfillment, I was adding so much. I felt like I was adding so much value. So there was a project we did at the bank some time ago where it was for Cameroon, and it was like an agency banking application. While we were doing that project, I was the only QA on that project to test the app for them. I was asking the developer in Cameroon, I said, why are we even doing this? What's the essence? Why are we doing this? Why are we building this product? And he said in Cameroon, as at the time, this was in 2020, he said that students go to the bank as early as 4 a.m. just to pay their school fees, because you don't have much banking institutions like bank structures, and the likes like we do in Nigeria. I was like, what? You people wake up at 4 a.m. to go to the bank just to wait and queue up to pay your school fees? He said, yes. I was like, geez, that's serious. So knowing that I'm part of such an impactful project, I don't know, like I was like, this is it. I'm changing lives, I'm solving problems. So that was why I stayed back, and we finished the project and sort of made life easy for them. Now, everybody have their different career journey. Some of you might even decide to switch again to another thing from this QA journey, But if you want to remain in tech, I tell people, please just be ready to put in the work. If you go and pay $1,000, $2,000, 100,000 naira, 500,000 naira, if you go and pay that money anywhere and learn, I kid you not, nobody will teach you 100% of QA. Nobody will teach you. If you pay 500, no matter how much, nobody will teach you 100%. You yourself, you have to sit down, be diligent, open that laptop, take notes, and learn by yourself. Nobody will teach you 100%. See, I'll say it again. Nobody will teach you 100%. This program now, probably maybe for 6-7 weeks, but it's just maybe like beginner level. But after the beginner level, you carry your certificate and post on LinkedIn. No. You can still do that. I'm not saying, but just know that nobody will give you 100%. You figure out your journey, your learning pattern. Personally, if I want to learn something, I don't like reading blogs. I go to videos. But I have friends, if they want to learn anything, they go to documentation first. They go to articles. They read articles to sort of try to understand what the writer is saying. Me, I'm not very good at reading all those stuff. Just show me a video. Give me one YouTube video. 1 hour, 2 hours, I'll read it, practice, and I'm good. So you discover your learning pattern, your learning style, the kind of products that you love to work on over time. So don't put so much pressure on yourself that you want to do everything, learn everything, all the frameworks. Today, my current company, Sabi hired me because of API testing. I had done mobile, I had done web, but they hired me because of just API testing. So when I joined them, it just became like, oh, this is it. I started growing in my API testing skills. And then from there, another passion grew, which is API security. So when you start your journey, you get to know functional testing and non-functional testing. Security falls under non-functional testing. Oh my God, when I found out that security testing, that API security, I just fell in love with it because I was learning it and then I was adding value to my project, and also at work. I was seeing real time, importance of my learning, right? And right now, I'm an ambassador for AppleSec University, where you can go and learn all this API testing stuff for free. So don't put pressure on yourself, but just enjoy your journey. This is my journey. I've already shared a bit about myself. But just enjoy your journey one step at a time. So now you're learning from SQA Marshall. Be serious with your learning. Ensure you document your journey. I remember the very first tech meetup I attended one time. I did not even take pictures. I just went there, sat there, and looked at people's face. No, please take this as your new identity. Just like put yourself out there, right? As you're learning your stuff, go on LinkedIn, try and connect with people. That's a different story. Maybe over time you guys will learn how to get a job, but LinkedIn is a very good tool where you can put yourself out there and learn. Now, the other speakers have said a lot of stuff about your career advice and the likes. I'll just share a few things. When I was switching, remember I told you I was wearing so many hats, and then I switched to QA. I remember that time I spoke to somebody. I spoke to one of my friends that I said, what do you think? I want to switch to QA. And he's a software engineer doing great stuff. And you know what this guy said? He said, why do you want to become the conductor when you can be the driver? I said, I don't understand. He said, why would you downgrade yourself and become a QA? Why, when you can push for to becoming like a senior, like a software engineer, full-fledged? I said, really? And that made me feel less of myself. Like for some time, I felt like maybe this QA, they don't really value them. Maybe I should just switch to. But I was wrong. I was really, thank God. I'm happy that I didn't really rely, like put my heart on all those stuff. Probably don't think I would have been doing QA by now. But I went ahead, continued my journey, and I pressed on. I was like, no, this is my own story, and I started, right? So be very careful, mindful of people that are speaking into your life and the things that you're listening to. This is what you want to do. There's success in it. Some QAs are even any more than developers, but product designers. So don't even think about the money. The money will come definitely if you know your stuff and you know how to deliver. Um, Career opportunities, there are lots of career opportunities. One of the speakers said something about side gigs and the like. Yes, people will reach out for to test some applications because some companies don't really have the funds to bring in a QA from day one. So most likely they might just bring you in before they launch the product, that kind of stuff. So maybe you can be like their in-house QA or part-time QA for a few, maybe 1 or 2, 3 months, and just maybe you can get some change from that. So just know that opportunities like that will come from, and when you do one project for somebody and you do it well, they might want to come back again and again and again and even recommend you. So stay consistent, please, guys. Stay consistent. Just don't put pressure on yourself, but just stay consistent. Pick a tool, learn it, document it, and build a project. Don't just learn and dump. Learn, build something, put it on your GitHub, and put it online too, so people can see your progress, see what you're doing, and then they can advise, and you can just grow your network from there. Yeah, these are just like a few things I have and I want to share. Yeah, so but QA is fun, Sha. Don't worry. You get to work with so many people, product designers, project managers. It's a fun role. You're just like the guy in between everybody. So welcome to your new level or your new season. I'll put it that way. All right, thank you guys.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Kingsley, for that amazing session. Your journey so far indeed is so inspiring. And thank you for opening our eyes that we should be more inquisitive and open to learning. Thank you so much, Mr. Kingsley. Up next, we're inviting our fourth and final speaker for tonight's session. Put your hands together as we make welcome Mr. Elimian Messi, also a QA engineer that works with Stanbic IBTC. Put your hands together as we make welcome Miss Messi.
Hi everyone. Can you all hear me? Can you all hear me?
Good evening, we can hear you.
Uh, Good evening, everyone. So I was supposed to join earlier, but since MTN had other plans for me, I was having network issues. I'm so sorry about that. So who am I? My name is Messi Elinian. So I'm from Edo State, so don't be saying, she Nigerian. I'm a full-blooded Nigerian. So I'm Messi. I work with Stanbic IBTC as a QA engineer. So I've been actively working for 4 years now. I love to read, watch TV, visit the beach, have fun. I love sports too. I play volleyball once in a while, so I'm not just about work, 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 work. Okay. So when I work from Monday to Friday, I go for volleyball practice on Saturday. On Sunday, I go to church. Monday, back to work. So I have this so it's a routine, but not all the time. Why QA? You know, I know a lot of persons that come here and say, "Oh, I had passion for it. I had this." I never had passion. No. My own was a different route. So I had during COVID, I had this friend that usually come around. We talk, we gist. I was working for Signal Alliance. Yeah, I think so. I was working for Signal Alliance. And when it comes down, then it was COVID now. Everybody was indoors. Everybody was inside. People were working remotely. So what I was doing then, I was doing procurement, and I wasn't really working remotely. I was always going to work in once in a while. So since I had my own office. So each time I go to work, he would come around to my office to work because we had lights. So he was always coming around to use the electricity there. So when it comes around, I always see the system. I'll be seeing different kind of colors. You know those codes now. I read business administration, so I didn't really know much about coding or computer science. I'm not say computer, but I know about computer. So when it comes around, I'll see different lines of code. I was like, what is this red and yellow line that I'm seeing on this your system? It's coding. So he was like telling me about it. I was like, okay, how can I learn it? How can I join you? I want to be like you and I want to earn money too. I know tech was just coming up. A lot of persons were already riding the wave. They're already talking about it, they're already learning. Me, I was sitting down, waiting for one opportunity to land on my neck or land on my lap. So he told me about it and said, okay, I can, read about it. I was reading, but I was not really focused. I was just reading for reading's sake. Then there was an opportunity came up, and he wanted me to. I think it was the training, something like this, but it was a company that organized it. So he came up and he said I should apply. I applied. I got in. So when I got in, I saw lots of persons. I met lots of exciting individuals talking about coding. This one like, oh, I want to do coding. This one, I want to do project management. So there were lots. I didn't even know they had other opportunities. So even if you have passion for software development, there are still other opportunities in tech, not just QA. But since this is QA, I'll talk about QA. So during the training, we are put into different departments. So I was giving quality assurance. I know QA then people are like, I don't want QA. They were even laughing at us that they gave us QA. Like, you put QA, I don't want to do QA. I want to do software development. But software development it was like the it then. Like, okay, software QA, no problem. So I went in. So I met lots of interesting individuals. Even success was I met success too. The organizer of this program. But that's how I met success. So we're friends. So we're all learning together. You know, trying to test applications. There's this joy you get. Oh, right now I'm working in a bank though. So there's this joy I get when I walk into the banking section. And when I walk into the banking hall, because I don't really work with those cashiers and all that. I work inside the office. So there's this joy when you walk into the banking hall, you see the cashier is doing applications you've tested. And you're like, okay, that's nice. That's my application. I tested the application. There's this feeling you get. So QA is actually interesting. It's a very, very interesting career path. So sorry, I'm trying to look for what to talk about. Coming. So I've given you YQA. Sorry, let me see. Sorry, everyone. So let me talk about advice to upcoming career professionals. So when you look at your mates and you see everyone is already doing well and you're feeling let down, you're feeling like you've not really gotten there. You're still far behind. I just want to say there's always light at the end of the tunnel. So the first thing first, master the fundamentals. There are different types of testing. There's manual, there's regression, there's automation. Don't just say because when you check people's LinkedIn profile, you see automation testers. I want to be like this guy, automation tester. Don't just rush into automation. You start from the basics, learn the basics. Even the automation, you still need knowledge of the basics to understand to perform automation testing. So learn the basics, master the fundamentals first. Don't rush into automation. Start with a solid understanding of manual testing, the test design, how to construct test plan, test techniques, and also the SDLC, that's the software development life cycle. You have a strong foundation in software in manual testing first, and also be curious. Think like a user. When you see an application, and you're like, oh, how will I want this application to behave? You know, pay, when you click on pay and you are seeing something different, how will you feel as a user? Always think like a user. You know, be curious. Great testers don't always follow test cases. Sometimes you can test with experience. If you Most times when you get when OPay came out, most of you have been using other banking apps like UBA. You didn't really read manual to use OPay. You just picked it up and you started using it because you use something similar. You know how it works. You know how you're expecting it to work. So that is how you're supposed to think as a QA personnel. Don't just You have to think like a user. So you learn the automation gradually. Start small, start with Cypress or start with Selenium. Just learn it gradually. Don't just rush into it. Communicate. If you communicate clearly. If you don't understand anything, if you don't understand the test case, or if you don't understand what you're supposed to test, always ask questions. You know, nobody's an island. We're all learning. Ask questions. If you don't understand anything, always ask questions. Never stop learning. QA is evolving. Before we started with manual testing, all of a sudden automation came out. Everybody automation, and there's performance testing. So never stop learning. Now we have AI testing. So keep learning, stay updated with tools and framework, and invest in soft skills like analytical thinking, problem solving, invest in your soft skills. Take pride in quality and remember, QA is not just a checkpoint, it's a mindset. You are the advocate for the user and the guardian of the product quality. So you also have to be stubborn. You know, as a QA person, you have to be stubborn. When developers tell you, madam, pass this thing now. It's not just this small issue. Don't mind them. Oh. Don't mind them. Always be stubborn. Tell them no. Your no is your no. And you know, as a QA person, you have power. If you tell your project management or your project management officer, you tell them, oh, sorry, this product cannot go live because this and this needs to be fixed and it's not fixed yet. It can't go live. You have power. When you tell them no, they can't do anything. If you say that product will not go live, it's not go live. You have the power. Be stubborn. So opportunities in QA. So there are different opportunities. There's manual testing. I know some other personnel, some other um, anchors that have said a lot about this. So we have the manual testing, start small. You can be a manual tester, you can be a performance tester. Don't just rush and know everything, Mr. Know All, Jack of all trade. No, you start small. After learning, try to get like an internship role. Look out for internship roles. Look out for even other training. You can even volunteer as a trainee to train others. With the little you've learned, you can also train others on that little. So look out for internship roles from there, and also look out for QA programs. You know, we have several programs like ISTQB, we have ANST. ISTQB is the International Software Testing Qualification Board. And we also have ANST, that's Association of Nigerian Software Testers. So yearly they organize events like software testing events. So look out for them. You can search for them on LinkedIn, follow them, so that when opportunities come out like this, you can go in, network. I know my first my one of my colleagues, she got a job through networking. There was this ANST program and she went there. She met some software testing leaders in the industry. They were there giving advice like we now. Then she met one of them and told them, oh, I've been learning, but I just needed I needed somewhere I can start, you know. Then they told her to come in for an interview. They interviewed her and she was good. That's how she started it. That's how she became a that's how she became a QA tester. So look out for opportunities like that. Don't just stay in your house and expect manna to fall from heaven. You have to go out and search for it. So what else have I not covered? And also with experience, you can also grow into QA leadership roles. You can be a test manager, can be QA head, can be managing testing, you can be defining QA strategy. So over time, you can grow to this kind of roles. So it's not a stagnant role. You be a QA tester all your life. It's a gradual process. You know, some people they started out as um QA officer, then to team lead, to head of QAs. So it's a gradual process. It's not just a stagnant role. You can grow in it. There's there's opportunity to grow in quality assurance. So we have some specialized testing areas. We have API and automation. I know the previous person I'll talk about API testing. We also have cloud testing, AI testing, and also we have freelance. So we also have freelance and remote QA roles that you can apply for. That's for opportunities in QA. You can look out for remote opportunities. So, you know, QA offers strong remote and freelance opportunity, and it's even a very good QA is so good that you can be in your house and be working. You don't need to be in the office to work. You can work anywhere. You can work from your home. You can work from an office. You can work from a restaurant. You can be anywhere working. Okay, so I've gotten I've gotten a reminder to round up. So that's it from me. If you have any question, you can drop it in the chat. If I'm opportunity to answer them, I'll answer.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
you,
you so
everyone.
much. Thank you so much, Ms. Messi, for sharing your experience with us. Indeed, it's inspiring. Like she said, while striving for excellence, ensure to have fun. All work without play, they say, makes Jack a dull boy. Thank you so much, Ma. And always look out for opportunity. Thank you so much, Ma, for that inspiring session. To wrap up
You're
tonight's,
welcome.
we have in our midst the founder of SQA Marshall Consult, Mr. Success Ayodeji. Mr. Success has been the visionary behind the SQA Marshall Scholarship, creating this platform to empower and equip aspiring QA professionals. Put your hands together as we welcome Mr. Success.
Oh, Precious, thank you for that. Thank you everyone for having me here today. All our speakers, thank you very much. Moses, David, Kingsley, Messi, you guys are astounding, right? Thank you very much for making it out to be here with us today and sharing your journey and experiences with every one of us. Just like Messi rightly said the other time, you can be at the comfort of your home and be working. I mean, I've not stepped out to go to, in fact, I don't know the office of the company I currently work for. I don't know where the office is situated as I speak. I've not been there physically, but not even once. Even during the interview process, I never went there. Up till now, I've never been there. So quality assurance can give you that level. Of course, there are companies where you work on site. There are companies where you work remotely. There are companies where you work hybrid. It does depend on the policy of the company basically. But then, if you are looking for that opportunity where you want to work from home, you have the chance to see that. And this journey. Okay, so let me start this way. I'm going to just reshare my screen to show you something quickly. So why this journey? We are going to be rounding up in the next 10 to 15 minutes. So why, people have asked me over and over again that, why are you doing this? Like, what exactly is the motivation? Why are you doing this thing almost at no cost for people, right? Just like Messi rightly said, Messi has always been my colleague. She was my previous colleague, all right, somewhere where we worked together before. And let me just put it as something that came out of passion to teach, all right, to train people. Okay, I remember at some point, our test manager at the time normally would teach graduate trainees that are coming to the company. And someday I just went to meet and I said, sir, can you just delegate this responsibility to me? Let me take that off you. and it galley did. And since then, I started teaching quality assurance to new intakes. I mean, new graduate trainees that are joining the company and all of that. But now, I didn't find quality assurance as a passion. Like this one, in fact, when I started the training, when I started the tech, journey, I didn't even know what that tech is still about. Even 2 months into it, I still don't have a glimpse, like really have that understanding of what I'm going into, right? So, um, but then it's what it is. Over time, just like the other speakers have said, whatever you find yourself doing, your willingness to learn, your passion to grow, keeping at it all the time. These are the things that helps you to build yourself and become, the best version of yourself and get to where you really want to be, right? So many people have asked me why. So one of the reasons is simple. It's just because I have the passion to teach others, to want to see other people also have, a feel of what I've already learned, and of course, to come into tech. But in particular, the major reason why we came about this scholarship program was the fact that there is a wide skill gap, especially for undergraduates. All right. I remember graduating from school, and of course, what I was doing was shoemaking. I learned shoemaking during NYC period. After that, I started doing shoes, doing that, selling to people. In fact, I hawked in the street of Lagos, as a matter of fact. If you know Agege very well, doing in Agege, Lagos, yes, I hawked shoe that I've built by myself so that people can buy. These are part of the stories. And I just stumbled. Of course, I just jump into tech. I just find myself there. So, and of course, when I got this, I just knew there is no going back on this, and I had to put all my energy, right? Now, there is a wide skill gap, and not many people really have that skill that can put them on the radar of, oh, I want to go into tech, or I'm ready for a job. Okay, so one of the reasons for that, for this scholarship program, is because of that. So we are trying to, bridge that gap as well in our own little way that we can. Right. So it started off like, okay, let's make profit out of what we are doing. I mean, from what I've learned, certification, this, that. But over time, I realized that if you are going to make impact, all right, you really need to just look away from the money, all right? If you're really going to make impact, you really need to look away from the money and just give to as many as possible as you can. And that's what the drive behind this scholarship program, all right? And we realize as well that many people cannot afford, to pay 250,000, 300,000, 400,000 to come and learn, how it works in tech. And just like I think it was Kisty that said it at that time, that there is no one that will teach you everything that you need to know, even if you have paid 500,000 for a particular course. You will need to now sit on your own and do work and do research, from the basis you have been given, from what you have learned. You need to now start building upon all of that in order to get to where you are going. So we saw that, okay, people are really struggling to, except for those who are already working in a particular sector and they are willing to, oh, I want to give all it takes, I want to put my savings into this and switch into tech. It's easier for such people. And trust me, it's not even that easy, because they would have to maybe, let go maybe a 3-month, a 4-month savings or a 5-month savings in order to get it. So what we are giving to you today is on a platter of gold that I wouldn't want any of you to take very, very lightly or for granted, right? A lot of work have gone into this. Myself and my team, we have done a lot of things to, to bring these things to people. I think in the last scholarship program that we had, we trained about 29 people as well. And yes, these people have been graduated from our scholarship program, and you are the second set that we are going to be taking, right? So because practically it's a lot of investment into going into tech, and because we saw that gap, we are trying to bridge it to give as many as we can to a lot of people. And what are the benefits of this scholarship program that you're getting? It's beginner friendly. You don't need to have any experience or what have you. And of course, you're going to have, I think in the last program that we had, we we had the practical sessions where we gave real life applications to our students to test. So they have a kind of practical session and all of that. So you are going to be having something to build into your portfolio in order to get a very good job out there. Of course, certificate of completion, you're going to get that as well. Our certificate of completion is not given on a platter of gold. You have to work for it. It means you have to attend classes, you have to submit your assignments, all of that. They are very important before you can get a certificate of completion. And in fact, your project, you have to do it. So we don't just certify you because you are part of us. We certify you because you worked for it. So we don't certify you on nothing. We certify you on something that you have done. And of course, there's a session where we teach you how to create TV, and all of that, attend interview. And even after your program, there is mentorship, community. We have a community where we do a live monthly webinar free of charge for people as well, where you get to meet experienced professionals as well that come to teach you, share their experience with you, teach you real things that you need to know in quality assurance, even as you keep on going in your journey. So this is also part of the things that we do. And is this fully funded? I know this is where majority of people are waiting to see, and I believe most of us on this already know this. Yeah, it's fully funded. Your materials, the trainers that will be taking you, you are not paying for them. Your materials, you are not paying for them. The time of the trainees, the time the SK Marshall team have invested, all of that, you are not paying for it. However, we are not going to let me say, we are going to make you to be committed to what you're about to do. All right. So there is a small amount of money for commitment. So this will help us know that you are serious about what you want to do. Time and time again, it has been proven that people that doesn't put any kind of commitment in anything don't get serious with it. So we don't want to waste your time. And we also don't want you to waste our time. Do you understand that? So we don't want to waste your time. We also don't want you to waste our time. So we want to achieve some level of seriousness. And that is the reason for the commitment fee. And of course, it helps us to offset some fees, like, okay, our trainers, of course, we give them some token also for their time, their data that they will use in training you. So that's where that comes in. Outside that, everything is free. And of course, another thing I really like to share with us is the process. After this tonight by 7:30, you should be getting an email where you'll be signing your consent form. This consent form helps us also get your commitment that you will attend classes, you won't miss classes, you will submit your assignment, you understand our terms and conditions before you join the program. And sorry, again, only those who sign this consent form will be offered the admission. In the next 2 days, 3 days, those who sign this form will get their admission letter from us. So you should be expecting that in the next 48 to 72 hours. All right, so the training schedule is just 6 weeks. It's going to start from November 1st to December 6th. And of course, these are the things you are going to be learning. We have November 1, November 8, November 15, November 22, November 29, December 6th. So this will be the last scholarship program for this year. So if you have any other question, you can come to the frequently asked question session to check. And of course, what are the courses you are going to be taking in this program? In this program, we are taking time out to be training you on API testing, web development that will give you at least a glimpse of what you need to know on HTML, CSS that will help you in your test automation eventually. And of course, database testing. You don't want to be a tester that is just testing and not knowing whether all the actions you are doing are even storing somewhere or whether they are properly done, right? So there's going to be project management, there's going to be fundamental of testing, very important. And of course, practical aspect of job preparation. We are not only teaching you all of this, we also want you to be prepared for the job, right? And of course, there's going to be a final day presentation where your team, every one of you are going to be in different teams. So your team is going to make a presentation on the final day. So I think from the get-go, you're going to be given an assignment, like a project that you guys will be working together, you'll be collaborating. These are the things you need in reward. So all of these things will be given to you in this scholarship program. And I think that's just all from my side. And once again, I wish you all the best in the journey that you're about to embark upon. Thank you very much. All our speakers, thank you very much as well for tonight. Yeah, over to you, Precious.
Thank you so much, Mr. Success, for your words of encouragement and for always leading with vision and purpose. Thank you so much. Moving on to the question and answer session. We'll be taking just 2 to 3 questions and we'll be welcoming short responses from our guest speakers.
Yeah, I think there are some questions in the comment section. You want to read that out. Or the speakers can also share the comment section wherever they want to attempt.
Okay, this question is coming from Ebere. It says, as a beginner in QA, how do I prioritize and select test cases for execution?
Um, okay. I don't know. Should I just, or you want to call on the guests? Any of the guest speakers? I
Any
can
of the
go
guest
on.
speakers can
Okay.
go ahead.
So basically, how we work or how you'll be working when you eventually start working is we work in sprints. It's something called agile way of working, like development. So you work in sprints. Your company might decide, or your team might decide to work on certain features or certain parts of your applications for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, depends. And how you prioritize those test cases will be based on what you want to achieve. So let's say you want to build login feature, sign up feature, you want to see your dashboard, you want to be able to do transfer, these 4 features now. So if you have all these 4 features that your team have decided, oh, this is what we want to build in this first sprint. Let me ask you, would it make sense if you now start going to do other kinds of, like, it won't really make sense. So you prioritize the test cases based on the goal of your team and what you guys intend to achieve, right? So um, that's how you prioritize your testing. But it can come in different phases. Sometimes you might say perform regression tests, and you know that one is a different kind. This is a different topic entirely. You might need to prioritize based on the important features of your system, that kind of stuff. But majorly, as a team, you prioritize based on what you want to achieve in a sprint.
Hello, Precious, are you there?
Yes, sir. Okay, moving on to the
Uh,
next question. This is coming from Christian Uchechukwu. He said, Mr. Moses talked about the basis of SQA. Please, can you kindly mention a few? I think this question is directed to Mr. Moses. Okay,
Move to the next one. I'm not sure he's on the call.
without wasting much of our time, we can move to the next question from Veronica. It says, do we need to know programming languages to learn QA?
Okay, let me just answer this. I think Mr. Kingsley already spoke a little about this. So you have to define what you want to be. Do you want to be a manual tester? Do you want to be an automation tester? So whichever one you want to be, that is what will determine what you need to know. If you want to become an automation expert, then you have to know at least one programming uh, language. So, for instance, automation with in Postman is done using JavaScript. So it's essential that you know at least one. it may not be so serious, just the basis.
Thank you so much. As we come to the end of this session, I'd like to thank our amazing guest speakers once again, Mr. Lola David, Mr. Moses George, Miss Elimian Mercy, and Mr. Kingsley Udo for their time and generosity in sharing their experiences. Thank you so much. And to all our trainees, please note that your consent form will be sent to you after the meeting. Kindly ensure you fill out and submit it as part of your program requirements. Thank you all for being part of this impactful evening. Don't forget to always stay connected to our official WhatsApp group. Keep learning, stay consistent, and continue striving for excellence in QA. I'm Precious Emezu, your host for today's session. Do have a lovely evening. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Precious and everyone. Someone is asking a question right there, and maybe I can just quickly answer you. How many days in a week is 2 classes per week? All right. Sometimes it can extend into 3, but majorly it's just weekends, Saturdays. All right. And but it's going to be any change, you are going to know ahead of time. All right. 2 classes per week, but sometimes it can be 3, like I said. I think that answers your question.
Thank you so much, sir. Do have a lovely evening, everyone.